We belong, says Parkey. Historic win. Welcome back to Where Red Dragons Walk with myself, Luke, and alongside me, Ed and Andy. So, Ed, who said Millwall away was a hard game to go to? 3 points and a clean sheet.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. It's so pleasing to be here speaking about a win, and it's so pleasing that that we've gone to a tough place. You know, Millwall's a good team. It was a hard-fought game. Probably Millwall edged it, in all honesty. But at last, we've got the 3 points. We've got that duck off our back. We've had some good wins in the League Cup. So now it's nice to finally in the league get our first away win. Really, really pleasing.
Definitely. How excited are you, Andy? 3 points.
Yeah, 3 points. Went to Preston the other night as well, and you could just feel the belief at Preston. You know, winning there, it was you could just feel a little bit of a difference. And I'll tell you, Callum Doyle is some player that we've signed.
Yeah, I think we'll touch on that later, but I think that he's a shrewd bit of business. I really do. I think he's very, very, very astute, especially for the level. I think he's going to be an important player for you. I think so for a lot of them. But yeah, like I said, a historic win. To 40 years, I think it's been since you won at this level. What an achievement, Ed. Like I said, I think there's moments in the season to look back on the whole journey that you've gone through over the several years. And I think your first win at this level in 40 years is one to reflect on the previous journey, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah, no, it's really, really special. And even I'm not old enough to remember the last win. So this really is, quite something. And quite historic from a point of view of people of my generation. They've often heard about the Wrexham team of the 70s was fantastic. You know, made Cup Winners' Cup quarterfinals, FA Cup quarterfinals. It was a good team. So I've grown up hearing all about how good that team was. So it's nice now to have a team like this that's competing in the second tier and winning again. Really, really historic.
Oh, 100%.
I can tell you, they were good. I'm old enough to remember them. And I was there when we beat Rotherham 7-1 to go up, and you know, you think we played Chelsea that season and some of the others. So yeah, I can remember it, and there was some team then, and in fairness to Parkey, I think we've got some team now.
What a journey then, Andy, to go from that to then go to the brink of, you know, the struggles that Wrexham had to now be in the Championship. I bet you pinch yourself sometimes.
Oh, unbelievable. I said to somebody the other day, I know Ollie Palmer's left this week, and for me, he was an unsung hero. I think that he was as important to us as Mullen was and a lot of the others. And the night, the day that Ollie signed, I forget who it was against now, he came on, it might have been Peterborough, and he scored, and he looked different class. And that was the game that I started to believe that we could do something special. It was just a belief that he brought, and I'm going back years ago now, because I'll tell you how old I am, because when in those years of sort of 40 odd years ago, we signed a young fella called Dixie McNeil and Di Davis in goal, and they were the difference. And I think when looking back now, probably Palmer and Mullen were the difference, and I think those two were the difference then. So I class those two as sort of as the difference between what we're doing now. But when you look at some of the players that we are signing and we're bringing in, it's just, you're right. You have to slap yourself around. You know, I was driving back from Preston the other night, and I was on my own in the car, and I had a big smile on my face all the way down the M6, because I'm thinking, is this really happening? Is this really happening to us? And you know, it's just unbelievable. You go to Preston on a Tuesday night with 2,500 Wrexham fans there. Is just unbelievable, you know. And yesterday, I think there's over 2,000 went to Millwall, of all places. You know, it's just madness, really.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I mean, I will have to take your word for it for the 70s players, because I don't know who they are. But I'll take your word for it, mate. But talking about the blood you got in there now, Kiefer Moore, Ed, what a start to the campaign he's had.
He's been, unbelievable. And I don't think he's quite 100% fit, because he missed the game. And then he's been, sometimes, anytime he goes down, he went down on Saturday and we all start to panic a bit. But yeah, it's been a fantastic start for him. And I've always felt he's been a Parkey type of player even before he signed for us. And you can just see straight away he's thriving. Totally agree with what Andy said there about Palmer was a fantastic signing. But I just feel now Kiefer Moore's kind of that upgrade for this level of football that we're at. But yeah, Kiefer Moore, unbelievable. And especially he's also not really had a stable strike partner because Windass started, he went off injured, Broadhead's currently injured, so Hardy was partnering him up front on Saturday, but Kiefer Moore's been the main man and really hit the ground running. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's actually a really good point you make as well, that everyone loved Ollie Palmer. I think, great player, but as you go up the divisions, no matter how much love you have for a player, you do have to keep evolving. You do. It's hard for a fan, isn't it? You have them attachments there, but you have to keep evolving with the times. And do you think Kiefer Moore is that upgrade, Andy?
Yeah, I think it's tough when these players move on as well. Players that have got us where we are now, and it wrenches at the heart a little bit when you see the likes of, Palmer moving on. There's talk of Tom O'Connor moving on this week, and I think there'll be a few more, I would have thought, who are on the periphery of the squad that will want first-team football. And it is tough, but it's a tough world out there. And we've got I think, just going back to Millwall, the big thing about it for me is that we almost came of age. I saw it at press a little bit, is that we believed. We haven't believed in the first two games that we're a championship team. I don't think some of those lads have believed it, but I think at Preston yesterday as well, I think you'll see them now, the beliefs there that we can compete. We won't, for me, I've said all along, if we finish out of that bottom three, I'll be delighted. But we believe now that we can compete, and I think that's been the difference.
Yeah, that actually brings us on really nicely to Parkey's comments that I mentioned at the start of the show, that them two words, we belong. I think that's a powerful statement, isn't it, Ed? I think that's really good to hear.
Yeah, and it's absolutely backed up now by the fact we've gone away to a good team and we've won. I think I felt it straight away though at Southampton when we were 1-0 up, couple of chances for 2-0, and I just thought straight away we look the part here. We do look like, a bona fide championship team. And I think apart from maybe the Sheffield Wednesday second half performance, I think, we've looked like we certainly do belong at this level.
What's that do for the players, Andy? When the manager comes out and says, we belong, it shows that he has so much faith in the team and it sends the confidence through the roof, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And the town itself is mad. The supporters are mad, and I must admit, I was one of those, and I'll be honest, a bit of a Parkey doubter. Could he manage at this level? He hadn't done it before, and I got some pals who are Bolton Wanderers fans and Sunderland fans, but I think that when you look around, I think he can. I think he can manage at this level.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's always question marks, isn't there, over the managers, and as fans we go through spells daily. I think where we go, oh, is he the right man? Is he not? It changes all the time.
Yeah,
part and parcel of the journey of a football fan, eh? And I do want to mention we went through obviously a signing that you made, Kiefer Moore, and saying about how the impact he's had. A player that obviously went down injured and had quite a serious injury that was a new signing is Danny Ward, Ed. What's the latest come out of the camp of that? It seems like a serious one.
It did. I mean, as soon as he went down, you could see the absolute pain he was in. And I don't know how on earth it wasn't a free kick at the time, because Millwall, it was more or less an open goal. There were a couple of defenders there, but Millwall should have scored really for 1-1. All I know is maybe Andy knows a bit more than me, but he was spotted in McDonald's somewhere with his arm in a brace. So I think we're assuming something with the elbow, but I don't know if it's a break or not. But it definitely looks like he's going to be out for quite a while. We're just really fortunate in that we've got Arthur Okonkwo, who is an absolutely fantastic keeper, and even in that injury time, he made a world-class save, an absolute unbelievable save.
Well, and we've got Callum Burton. We've got Callum Burton, who's the number 3 goalie, who's outstanding. But on the news tonight, it says that Gavin Ward has not been ruled out of the Wales squad for this week. So I don't know what the extent of the injury is, how bad it is. Somebody said it was his elbow. Somebody said it was his shoulder. Then somebody said it was a broken rib. But I agree with you, Ed. I saw him in McDonald's trying to... It was quite funny. There's a picture of him. I don't know if you saw it, Luke. He's in McDonald's, still with his kit on, with his name on the back, Ward, and he's at McDonald's ordering whatever he wants with his arm in a sling, obviously on the motorway services somewhere. I've got off the team bus. He hadn't even got out of his football kit, which I thought was really funny. But I don't know how serious it is, but unbelievable. Yeah.
Priorities. You got to grab a Big Mac when you can at the end of the day. And obviously, if it looks like he's going to be fit for the Wales games, and I don't know what's in that McDonald's, but it's obviously done some healing powers on him. So,
yeah, there could be a big sponsorship coming on with McDonald's if he is fit. I tell you that.
Right, there is from the time of recording, just about 24 hours left of the transfer window. Is there anybody else or a position that you would like to fill before that closes, Ed?
2 positions. I still think, I know we're quite heavy in midfield in terms of personnel because we've got a few injured at the moment, but definitely, I am saying this after I thought Matty James in the CDM position was absolutely superb against Millwall. I thought he was really, really good, but maybe someone to come in and challenge him. And also Cleworth, young lad who's playing on the right side of defence, very, very good player. But I think someone to come in there as well would be, for me, they'd be the final pieces of the jigsaw. 2 really good quality players, centre back and a midfielder. But then I think it will need 1 or 2 to go the other way, to go out as well. Because one thing that I still feel, and I felt it against Millwall, the bench, I know we've got some injuries, but the bench doesn't look too strong. What we've had in the National League, in League 2, in League 1, you've looked at the bench and you've thought, here's a player, here's another player who can come on and really change and win the game. I don't know what Andy feels, but at the moment, I don't see that the same at the level we're at. I still think we need 1 or 2 quality additions.
I agree. We've got Rathbone to come back, who will make a difference. I think we've got a bid in for Andy Irving at West Ham. I think there's a bid in, well, they bid for him. They bid for a midfielder, and I can't remember his name, at Coventry, and Jordan James, the Welsh international that was at Birmingham. But I also agree. I think we probably are short of a better defensive cover because, Cody is not, although he's physically fit, he's not going to be the youngest in the world. But I thought the other thing, Ed, I thought Kakachi was a big improvement on McLean as well. I think we spoke about that before, that long ball over the top and he gets caught. But I agree with you. I think once tomorrow's out of the way, I think Parkey's got a really tough job in managing the squad because they're all going to want to play. Where does your man Luke Nathan Broadhead fit in? I'm not sure. When Windus comes back, you can have him back on loan if you like. You can come back to on loan, Broadhead.
I would take him in the heartbeat, mate. I'd take him in the heartbeat. You look after him.
There's a few good players that got to come back. So, but I'm with you. Probably a defender and at least 1 midfielder. The only thing I would say about Matty James, he's a really, really good player. I'm just not sure whether he's quite quick enough for the Championship. That would be my only view about him, but he is quality.
Yeah. So obviously we're going into the international break now. And then the other side of the international break, there is actually quite a few, not including Wrexham, but there is quite a few local derbies happening straight away. You've got the likes of the South London derby, Millwall Charlton. You've got Portsmouth Southampton. Looking at Wrexham and your 42 million different rivals clubs that you have. I'd like to look at the one, though, that's between Wrexham and Birmingham. Not a local derby by any means, but just the comparison of the journey that you both have been in. Who's going to come out on top, Ed, this season? Who's going to finish higher, Wrexham or Birmingham?
Oh, that's a tough question because Birmingham have signed absolute quality. I've got to say, in all honesty, I don't know what Andy would think, but probably I think I'd edge with Birmingham, actually. Certainly last season, they spent a lot of money. You know, they had a strike of £15 million. And they finished, even though we were second, quite a few points ahead of us. I'd still say the edge is with Birmingham. But it's quite an interesting little rivalry that maybe will continue this season. I haven't seen the Birmingham documentary, but I've heard it's not as good as ours. So maybe we win on that front.
Definitely the Birmingham ownership's not as good as ours. But I think, and what I would say is that I think their manager is a really top fella, but I did see them play Leicester on Friday night. I wasn't particularly impressed, but you're right. I think where they're probably better than Wrexham is the depth of the squad, which is what you said before, Ed, about that bench. And I think that's probably could well be the difference. But having said that, you know, last year they gave us a good beating early on, 3-1. We should have beaten them at home. You know, we played really well, probably one of the best performances. But it's going to be, for me, I think West Brom are a really, really strong team in our league this year. I think they're going to be good. I rate their manager. I think they've got some good players. They signed the lad from Man United, Toby Collier, I think his name is. I think he's real quality. He's going to be tremendous. So I think they're probably the team to watch. But I think if you ask Birmingham fans, they're going to be like us. Anything above that bottom three, I don't think any of it. But Birmingham, the infrastructure of the club should be better than us. But there won't be a lot in it. But it wouldn't surprise me if they finished just a little bit above us, I would have thought. Yeah. But I still think we'll beat them at home. 3rd of October, Friday night under the lights, is going to be really live on Sky. 8 o'clock kickoff at Wrexham will be some game.
Big one. So we're going to finish on Tweet of the Week, which actually we're not going to actually comment on. I just really think it's a nice statement with a little bit of tongue in cheek in there. But it's from a Wrexham fan, and he says, "Now we can stick that game in the documentary." And I think that just shows the journey you've been on to the moment you're in now. That moment, how big it goes down. So yeah, I think that's a great place to leave it. So thank you, Ed. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And we'll see you very soon.